One True Enemy by Katie Dead. Read by Mika. Shouto Todoroki turned to his online conspiracy theory blog whenever he was stressed out. And since he'd started attending UA, he'd been under an exceptional amount of stress. His father had redoubled efforts to force him to use his fire. His classmates seemed determined to befriend him, quite against his will. The sports festival approached, requiring him to train longer and later into the night. And a group of villains had nearly murdered his teacher at USJ. Online, Shoto didn't have to be the cool ice prince, or Endeavor's son, or a candidate for future #1 hero. He could be silly, creative, having fun with the absurdities of the world. It had never mattered if his conspiracy theories were real. Taking them too seriously would have ruined the game. He merely strove to be interesting. Whistling to himself, a jaunty tune which would have shocked all of 1A, Shoto logged into his account. Hates fire, loves soba. He wrote, "Recently pro-hero theme song has been curiously absent from patrols around the hours of 3 in the afternoon to 6 every day. I've also compiled evidence of theme song receiving a large number of packages from Amazon Japan. See the attached images. In addition, look at the happy smile on his face, captured by yours truly at a high-class soba restaurant. There is only one possible explanation. Theme song has a secret love child. The hero must have recently discovered a child born out of one night stand, who he's been slipping off to visit during work hours. The boxes must be the gifts for the child. You heard it here first." Shoto smiled to himself, as a couple likes popped up for his latest post from his few loyal followers. Even other conspiracy theorists mostly considered him too unique to pay attention to him, but he had a handful of fans. Blue Flame was his most passionate follower and liked everything he posted. But his smile did not last too long. The likes were coming too fast now. This meant someone popular had reblogged him, and there was only one popular person who followed Shoto online. The menace to his sanity, #1 All Might fan. Gritting his teeth, Shoto checked what that horrible monster had posted this time. #1 All Might fan. What a great analysis! You immediately identified the unusual pattern in theme song's behavior. Of course, it's just like you to slip in a love child. It's your trademark, but I'm afraid there's a more pedantic explanation. I analyzed crime in the area and found an increase in pickpocketing and purse snatchings during the time that theme song takes his impromptu vacations. Your restaurant pictures show theme song meeting with a notorious pickpocket. This is all very strong evidence that theme song has been taking bribes, which he's been spending on his shopping sprees. What absolutely disgraceful behavior for a hero. I forwarded this evidence to the press and the HPSC. Well done, Hates Fire, Loves Soba. Together we've cracked another case. I give the vast majority of the credit to you in your clever sleuthing. You've done a good deed for all the people hurt by thefts." Shoto threw back his head and screamed in frustration. Why did #1 All Might fan have to be like this? If they wanted to investigate hero corruption, fine, but did they have to use Shoto's blog to do it? Shoto's conspiracy theories were his safe space. He liked to imagine up a dream world where heroes were good, loving parents to their secret love children. Of course, he already knew about the cold, hard reality of the prolific hero corruption. He lived it. He didn't need it rubbed in his face when he was trying to enjoy a good conspiracy. Yet every time, #1 All Might fan came to his blog to be a killjoy. Ugh. Shoto hated all those sarcastic, fake, nice comments about his analysis. He just knew that jerk was sitting behind a computer screen, smiling at another victory. Of course, it's just like you to slip in a love child. How patronizing. As if Shoto wouldn't see through the mockery. Shoto could just block number one All Might fan, but he would never admit defeat like that. Not until he finally came up with a conspiracy that his enemy couldn't disprove. Shoto had never needed his conspiracy theories to be right. But just once, he wanted to prove number one All Might fan wrong. It was a rivalry far deeper than he'd ever felt with any of his fellow hero students. This was more like mortal enemy. If it took Shoto his entire life, he would force number one All Might fan to say those precious words. You're right. When Izuku Midoriya was anxious, he turned to his online blog. It had started out as an All Might fan blog. He'd paid a fortune of his father's money to get the name number one All Might fan. But at some point, he'd expanded into an investigator of hero corruption and become a conspiracy debunker. Over the last 7 years or so, he'd built a following of over 10,000, using his expertise in hero facts and his obscene amount of free time as a kid without friends. Until UA, Izuku had never really had any friends in real life. But he had a best friend online. Conspiracy theorist Hates Fire Loves Soba. The blog had been one of the very first Izuku had found and followed. Hates Fire Loves Soba always posted such colorful and interesting theories, with detailed research. And somehow, he always twisted the evidence into secret love children like a creative and determined pretzel maker. But that was okay, because Izuku's job was to straighten out the clues and the truth. He was the one who took his friends' frankly batty theories and made the final push to find the real story. They made a great team. Working together, they'd uncovered numerous cases of hero corruption and solved crimes. In Izuku's darkest days, when the bullying at Aldera Middle School had been the worst, his online blog had been his refuge. Here were people who were interested in his opinion and thought he had worth. Once, during a particularly awful day, when the suicide baiting had been frequent, Izuku had seriously wondered if it might be better if he just did what they said, and hoped for a quirk in another life. But then, Hates Fire Loves Soba had posted a particularly interesting theory about how Sir Night-Eye had left Might Agency to look after his secret love child, Mirio Togata. And Izuku had realized that one person was waiting for his reply to their theory. One person needed him. They were a team. It had been reason enough for Izuku to keep going. In a very real sense, Hates Fire Loves Soba had saved Izuku. Hates Fire Loves Soba didn't communicate with anyone online. Whoever they were shy and guarded their privacy, but Izuku knew his friend appreciated his analysis, because whenever Izuku replied, it always spurred Hates Fire Loves Soba to post a frenzy of theories afterwards. They were wonderful together, inspiring each other to great heights. Sometimes, Izuku wondered what Hates Fire Loves Soba would be like in person. It was an idle daydream, not something he ever expected to happen, but it would be fun if someday they could drink bubble tea together, like real-life friends. Shoto hadn't left his computer in the last 28 hours. Fuyumi had come by to bring him his meals, which he hadn't eaten because then he would need to go to the bathroom, and he refused to stop. Not until he'd crafted the conspiracy theory to bring number one All Might fan to his knees. Finally, he'd been pressed too far, and he would have his revenge. This would be the ultimate conspiracy to end all conspiracies. Shoto was going after the biggest target, the HPSC. The Hero Public Safety Commission locked down their information tightly, but Shoto had obtained access by stealing his father's login and password. This had gotten him surface-level information. Through years of selling his father's personal effects to some fanboy named Caged Bird, who apparently spied for the HPSC, Shoto had gradually obtained greater access to HPSC secrets. This theory would be Shoto's Magna Carta. With shaking hands, Shoto compiled his database of evidence. He was too tired to write a long post, so he typed only a paragraph. Referring to the attached files, you will see irrefutable proof that former hero-turned-villain Lady Nagin murdered previous HPSC president. The crime was covered up, and she was sent to Tartarus on false charges. There is only one possible explanation. Lady Nagin is the secret love child of the former HPSC president, and she killed him for being a deadbeat dad. I think we can all agree this was completely justified. No jury made of me and other people with terrible fathers would convict her. Lady Nagin, I salute you. After hitting post, Shoto toppled backward and passed out. His last memory was Fuyumi rushing into the room and holding a cup of water to his lips. Izuku gasped out loud as he read Hates Fire Love Soba's latest post. He'd known his friend must be planning something big after not posting for an entire day, but this was insane. Hates Fire Love Soba had posted detailed evidence the HPSC had turned Lady Nagin into an assassin and pressured her into increasingly corrupt jobs until she'd finally snapped and killed her former boss. Then they'd silenced her and jailed her. This news would shock the nation. Hates Fire Love Soba was an absolute mad lad. The love child part didn't really make any sense except that it was Hate Fire Love Soba's trademark. Izuku ignored that bit, as he focused on going through the files and writing up a detailed report of the HPSC's corruption. With shaking hands, Izuku prepared to hit send. Then he hesitated. The HPSC had proven willing to kill people to keep their secrets. He'd wondered just how secure his online identity was. If it was only his own life at stake, Izuku wouldn't hesitate, but his mother lived with him. Fortunately, Izuku knew someone who could help. Someone with fame, and power to rival even the current HPSC president. A hero who could be trusted absolutely. When Izuku went to school the next day, Shouto Todoroki was out sick. He joined the rest of the class in signing a get-well-soon card. After class, Izuku headed to All Might's office. He confessed everything about his online blog and his online friend. All Might read the files, and Izuku's analysis in complete silence. Then he said something proving how seriously he took the situation. We need to bring this to Principal Nezu. Izuku gazed up. You believe me? Of course I believe you, young Midoriya. All Might sighed. I knew about corruption in the HPSC, just not that it ran so deep. You've done very well to bring this to me. I'll ensure this information doesn't get buried. Come with me. After we meet with Nezu, I'll take you to my publicity team, so we can make sure your online presence can't be traced back to you. We'll protect your friend as well. All Might smiled very slightly, relaxing the tense expression off his face. Your name is #1 All Might fan. Izuku flushed and twiddled his thumbs. I've always admired you. I'm deeply flattered. All Might smiled. A real smile, not his professional hero smile. And Izuku felt happiness, erase his embarrassment. Shoto woke up in a hospital bed, with an IV in his arm, and greeted a changed world. The HPSC president had been placed under arrest. The Prime Minister had ordered an investigation and an overhaul of the entire HPSC. Hawks had come forward to tell a deeply disturbing story about his childhood. Lady Nagant was getting a retrial. There was talk of new laws to change the entire hero system. Somehow, number one All Might fan had not only ruined the most important part of Shoto's theory, he'd even gotten All Might to reblog him. It was bad enough for his rival to keep drawing attention to him outside of the conspiracy theory world, but did they have to involve the number one hero? Shoto's follow account had been climbing rapidly, and it made him uncomfortable. He preferred to interact with fellow conspiracy theorists. Endeavor, of all people, had publicly praised number one All Might fan and hates Fire Love Soba for breaking open a massive conspiracy, to Shoto's fury. But on the other hand, it felt good to be able to do something about hero corruption. Shoto had very mixed feelings. He felt glad that his theory had helped Lady Nagant and so many other people, but why was everyone ignoring his evidence of Lady Nagant being the former HPSC's president's daughter? That part had explained so much about her motives. Hates Fire Love Soba hadn't posted in several days, and Izuku was starting to get worried. All Might's investigation had interestingly revealed Hates Fire Love Soba's computer already had security equal to that of the number one hero. It had made Izuku even more curious about his friend's real-life identity. With such protection, it seemed unlikely the HPSC had tracked the conspiracy theorists down and taken revenge, especially with the president in prison, awaiting trial. However, could something else have happened? Meanwhile, Shouto Todoroki had been sick for several days. His sister had come by school to pick up his homework. She said it wasn't too serious. Shoto had just gotten obsessive and stopped eating or drinking again. That sounded pretty serious to Izuku, though. Between worry for his classmate and worry for his online bestie, Izuku felt sharp relief when Hates Fire Love Soba posted a new theory. There was no mention of the last theory, or the massive ripple effects across society. Hates Fire Love Soba had always been terse like that. They never addressed their theories after Izuku reblogged and enhanced them, always simply moving on to the next one. This time, Hates Fire Love Soba had posted a detailed analysis of the sightings of hero killer Stain. He'd used this to conclude, clearly Stain is currently stalking Ingenium. Either Stain has a crush on Tensei, or they are already dating. There may even be a secret love child. I will be investigating more to reach a conclusion. Izuku nearly screamed. Hates Fire Love Soba had uncovered Stain's movements and predicted his next target. And his conclusion had been that Stain and Ingenium were dating? Frequently, Izuku wondered what on earth went on in that strange, beautiful mind of Hates Fire Love Soba's. This information was too important to reblog. They couldn't let Stain catch on before they created a trap. Fortunately, Izuku had already told All Might about his blog and his online friend. He immediately called his mentor and explained the situation.